Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Good morning, Devo. I know Carvey and Michelle just stepped out. Good morning, Carvey. Good morning, Michelle. All you listeners. Man, I've been here since last Thursday. So let me do this.
Yeah, you playing hooky, man.
Huh?
You playing hooky.
I'm not a slacker. Let me thank DJ for so ably covering the program on Friday. Appreciate that. Appreciate him. And appreciate you, Debo. Thank you, sir.
Not a problem, sir.
Our first meeting of the fire program that I work with, and we're having our kickoff meeting. So, and when people think I was slacking, I was actually working.
Right.
So anyway.
Sure you were working.
Did they do something for Keon Sunday?
I don't know. I wasn't
saw something, and I wonder, and I'm talking out loud now, so I need to make a phone call. I'm just curious to where are they? Are they still going to try to get that park, Atkinson Park, named after Keon? I know in the throes of the emotions of our loss and his death that people said they're going to do a lot of things. So I think that's Priscilla Cox Jones, right? I think she's might be the supervisor.
Either Malele.
Or Malele City. That's a county park.
You mean county? Yeah. From that standpoint, I thought you were speaking to automatic district.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, man. I am tethered. Cannot have a conversation about me being here at WNOV without me being tied to Michelle.
Yeah, well,
you got me tethered, man.
Your partners in crime.
Yeah, I mean So someone was saying at Sister Bobby Hicks Lathan's funeral, but Michelle was actually, it was a great funeral. First of all, it wasn't long.
I don't know if I've ever been to a great funeral.
Great, well, I've been to some great funerals. I've been to some funerals where they've actually had some church.
Well, I mean, when you say great, there's still the loss.
You got the loss, but for believers, we do not believe that this is the end. And that's where you get the idea that we celebrate life, not just here in this finite human life, but we also talk about eternal life. So, I'm not.
I guess when you factor in events, presentation, you look at the overall. I guess I have been to some great funerals. If you're going to do all of that,
everybody was on time. We didn't have an issue with that. I mean, music was good. The eulogy was good. The tributes were good.
Nobody sneak in and speak when they wasn't supposed to be on program.
Dr. F.L. Carruthers shut that down from the giddy up. And as only he could do it. Yeah, as only he could do it. They lost control of Keon's.
You were up there.
I wouldn't.
You was up there.
Hey, I did my 3 minutes and sat down. Okay. There was others who got up there.
When the guy who was tired, she said, "Okay, now you gonna have to cuss." He said, "Well, who are you?" He said, "I'm the one that's on the program."
Him.
Well, who was that guy? That guy took off.
He
running
took off
up
running the aisle, man. So yeah, you got. This is why you love African people, because African people, we just have our own unique spin on things and our swag when it comes to.
And he was good.
But that was the whole piece. I mean, he rocked the house.
Right.
That was,
and he was good.
Yeah, and the boy was good too.
Yeah, and before they could figure out what was going on, he got in there and got out. Oh no, I know I ain't on program, but I'm getting this in. And I could respect it because he, as he said, Keon and him had that pact that if.
But what he for Racine?
Yeah. He come all the way down here. Did what he had to do and got on out of here. He did. Because I'm
so tired of people traveling. They come in
running
because they figure they come in from out of town. They supposed to have something to say.
Kyrie, didn't you see him running? Yeah, no. There was another guy.
That was the other dude that got up and talked about how they talk about God.
We talk about God while we smoking weed. We smoke weed together. I was like, wow.
And anybody ever smoke weed, been with your boys, people shake their head, go, yow.
You done did it. You done did it.
Yow.
Mm-hmm. sitting there talking about church and having a
Going
brandy and Coke.
back, right? I love the Lord, Pastor Joy.
Hey man, pass it, man. Okay, two hits and pass.
This weed is good. I saw God. That's some good weed.
Stop it, Keith.
That's some good
You
weed.
went too far. Not far, fur. I saw God.
I saw God. Oh my God.
I think Keon had some good weed one time because he come in here and told us he had died. Remember? He said, "I died the other night." I said, "Wow, this dude here had some good
Don't
stuff."
want to smoke. That's the true killer.
Man,
I got the killer.
the truth be told, listen, I tried to smoke weed, and man, I ended up calling the fire department. I'm serious. I called the fire. People that know me will tell you. Man, I called the fire department. I got up and opened the door for him. And one of my guys named Robert used to live on 24th Street with me. He says, "Hey, man, who are you here for?" I said, "Me." He said, "Well, what's wrong with you?" I said, "Man, my heart ain't beating." He said, "What?" He said, "Man, what you?" I said, "Man, I've been smoking weed." He said, "Well, where would you at?" I said, "Man, I was with Lomet Jenkins, William Shaw." I'll name the whole names. We was on 24th, right across the street where your mom and them used to stay. I'm getting mad. I'm good, right? Man, please.
Man,
No, I can't do it.
when I was in college, I just get distracted and wear jeans, and so I used to doodle just on my jeans, man.
Doodle on your jeans?
Doodle on my jeans. So
I'm glad you said doodle.
Doodle. I doodle on my jeans. So I'm in the dorm room. I done fired up a goodie, and it was a Friday. Don't forget, it was Friday evening. People leaving campus, and I got the windows, so there's no lights on in the room. And so I go to the window to pull up the shade to look down on the quad, see what was going on. And man, I look down. I got the spider on me, man. I'm trying to kill this spider. This spider won't die. I'm beating up on this. It won't die. It won't die.
The spider
so
you
I
drew.
turned the light on, and it was my doodle. My roommate come in, I'm still laughing, right? He's like, "Dude, what happened?" I said, "Dude, man, it's one of those, here's why you shouldn't smoke weed. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs." That's what it looked like.
Or especially by yourself.
Oh, dude, by yourself, don't. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hi, I have Adrianne Todman on the line.
Excellent, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing very well. We have Acting Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Miss Adrianne Todman, right?
You've got it. That's perfect.
How are you? The pride of the Virgin Islands. Welcome to the program. How are you?
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm doing great. Keith, I just want to start off by saying that I know my thoughts are with all of our fellow Americans in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, and Virginia who are all digging out of the impact of Hurricane Helene and who may have lost their loved ones. So I know my soul is burdened this morning, but I'm here to talk about the great president that our vice president will make, and Tim Walz will be as a vice president.
And we're talking specifically about the economic policies of the Harris Walz ticket. I had a chance to go through and review what is out there currently on the website. There were two things that kind of stuck out to me and kind of maybe help us understand the benefits of how we would benefit economically for this. The $25,000, is that a grant for first-time home buyers?
So it I think that there are lots of details tied to the vice president's economic agenda will come. But I will say, as relates to that, I think everybody assumes that it will be a grant, but Keith, there's one thing I need to share with you that I'm here in my personal capacity, and there's all these like funky federal rules that say I can't speak about the housing part of the vice president's agenda, which pains me, but maybe you can invite me back in my official capacity and we can talk all day long.
So let's talk about that in terms of what does it mean? What is this? And I want to use the word agenda, but obviously economic policies that would benefit the American people.
Yeah. So, one of the things that the vice president and Governor Walz have made clear is that they're going to people as they're building out their opportunity economy. And some folks have said, well, what is an opportunity economy? An opportunity economy is where someone feels like they can't get that job, they can't get the small business that they wanted, perhaps they can't get into first-time home ownership, perhaps they can't get to childcare, perhaps they have healthcare costs. Our vice president, Governor Walz, is going to make sure that they are centering their policies and their way forward on exactly what the people who are in the middle class and want to achieve the middle class, what they need, not doing tax cuts for billionaires and corporations. And that isn't just something that we think that will happen. If there's a second president Trump term, we know it will, because that's exactly what he did, really the only thing he did when he was president the last time. And so we're going to focus in on where we need to, which is helping folks where they need their government's help the most. I want to give you one example. We know, because he has said it, we know that in a second Trump administration, he will roll back the Affordable Care Act. Some people call it Obamacare. He will roll that back. I want to talk to all the folks who have a pre-existing condition. That means that if you lose your health care, which you will not be able to get additional health insurance, because he's going to roll back the protections around pre-existing conditions. He's already said that he is going to stop federal funding for education. Who does that? What kind of leader says we're going to stop federal funding for education when we know we need to make sure we're keeping up with other countries in AI and biomanufacturing and aerospace? So these are things that don't really make sense in terms of where our investments will be. So, I've had the great opportunity to talk with and be around Vice President Parris for the past several years. And she's the kind of leader that we need right now. She's a leader that will walk into every day with confidence and not walk into every day creating chaos around her, which is exactly what we're going to do if Mr. Trump returns to office.
When we talk about the economy now, I mean, obviously we just have gone through a very difficult inflationary period. What do we do going forward? Inflation has come down, but going forward, what are some of the economic, again, I don't want to say agendas, but some of the economic plans as it relates to stabilizing the economy and then bringing, continue to bring down inflation? And as the vice president has said, prices are too high.
That's right. No, prices are high, but we are thrilled that with the wonderful leadership of the Biden-Harris team, we've been able to have inflation go down. We're able to provide an opportunity where wages are up and unemployment is down. What the vice president is laser focused on, though, is understanding some of the pain points of people who live in Wisconsin and people who live across the country. People are saying to her that groceries are too high. It's one of the reasons why she's going to go after big corporations who are, and tax their price gouging. She wants to make sure that our healthcare system is available and healthy for everyone. She has lots of plans for what to do around increased rent. That I can speak to another situation. She's very focused on people who want to start their own small business. Small business owners are some of the most courageous folks out there, and she knows that she wants to make sure that the federal government and local and state government are not in the way of trying to help somebody start their small business. So she is going to reduce costs to get access to federal assistance, and she's going to reduce the red tape to do that as well. So whether it's growing jobs, for instance, we know that we have a new digital technology company that's going to be in New Berlin, Wisconsin. We're excited about the $100 million that she is investing there. So in addition to new jobs that will be linked to investments like that, We want to help people who have a great small business idea, and we want to help them to fly.
You know, when you talk about the expansion of the middle class, what about the issues around one of the costs, especially for young families, is the cost of childcare?
Yeah.
I know a few years ago, and I don't know if it's Sunset, where we had, because I know Congresswoman Gwen Moore, this is the child tax credit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, one of the things that the Vice President cares very deeply about is taking care of our children, taking care of the next generation. It's one of the reasons why, number one, she's been focused on maternal health and began a whole initiative around that back in 2022. But it's also the reason why she wants to make sure that we are bringing back the child tax credit. When it was fully in place, we reduced child poverty by 50%. And that's something that she's very proud of. But in addition to that, she wants to help new parents when they're just getting started by including a $6,000 tax cut for them in their first year of taking care of their child, which I know as a mom would have come in pretty handy when I had my daughter now 28 years ago, believe it or not. So she is centered on making sure that we are helping parents when they have a first child, they have a second child, but also centered in making sure that we have child care facilities that are affordable, that we're making sure that we're helping mothers, fathers as they're going through pregnancies, and everybody is and we have a wonderful family. So she is really focused on exactly what we believe the American people, things that they're thinking about every day when they wake up. How am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to make sure that I have health care? How am I going to make sure I'm taking care of my mother and my father who need my assistance as well by not having such Social Security the way that a potential 2.0 would take upon our seniors. So she's focused on the people of the country. She wants to make sure that her agenda is about hope and not about the hate that spews out of Donald Trump's mouth every single day.
How do you, for people who are in West Virginia or parts of Ohio or other parts of the country that we consider red, how do we get the message? How's the message expressed that these policies that Vice President Harris is promoting will be a benefit to someone like that individual who lives in West Virginia in a rural area?
Yeah, I think that many folks are probably set their minds on their standards. But let me say this about that. There is a hope that in a second Trump administration, that things are going to go back to the way they were. I want to talk about what was. When you look at the Trump agenda when he was president, he proposed cuts to rural America, whether that's by way of education, whether that's by access to health care, whether that's in terms of resources to create jobs. The former president talked about Infrastructure Week for years, and all the manufacturing jobs he was going to bring back to rural parts of this country where those jobs closed. That didn't happen. And so I would say, let's not just look at the words that are coming out of the former president's mouth. Let's look at what actually happened when he was the president and the promises he made that did not positively impact people in rural America and people in really all of America. And I would say, take a look at what we need to do to move the country forward. Do we really want to spend our time having him seek revenge as he said he would do? So there's countless hearings on the Hill, countless investigations really about looking backwards? Or do we want to have people in place who are going to make sure that we have the jobs we need, we have the income we need, we have the health care we need, we have the education assets that we need for our kids, and that we have the Social Security benefits that our seniors have fought for their entire life? I think it's important that we're clear-eyed.
I know we have to wrap this up. So the final question, and I ask all who come in, why should people vote? Period. Because there are people who believe that it doesn't matter. Why does it matter that we vote?
Look, let me tell you, the when you go district by district during the Biden Trump election period, those districts and those states were won by thousands of votes, only thousands of votes, not millions of votes, only just a couple thousand votes. And so every vote counts. You may think that, there's a lot of energy around, Vice President Harris right now. She doesn't need your vote. If you don't vote, you're basically saying we are going to have another Trump administration. Because absolutely every vote will make a difference because that is how close the margins are right now. So I impeach anybody who is wondering about exercising their constitutional right, something that you're a Black person, your parents and grandparents and great grandparents fought and died for. I implore you to go out, exercise your right. And when you exercise that right, I'm asking you to vote for the future. Vote for Harris Wall.
Let me thank Acting Secretary of the Housing and Urban Development, Ms. Adrianne Todman. Thank you for taking a few moments with us.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Just so people didn't know who they were listening
I think
to.
they
Just in case they didn't
they
know.
knew. You thought maybe they thought you were Michelle. Your voice is kind of similar.
No. No one will ever mistake us. Michelle is the true goat around here. I'm just the other guy. You know.
Here we go with this stuff.
What? What stuff?
I'm the other guy.
I was listening to that last spot, and I was, if I can interview you for a moment.
Go for it.
Just, I'm sitting here and we're listening, and are you more engaged politically this election cycle than you have been in the past? And the reason why I asked that, because you said you would have loved to be able to go and see Representative Crockett.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so it is.
Well, let me put it this way, and this is probably the difference for me. Being here in the mornings now with Michelle and so forth, and that whole piece, and kind of hearing from the different people or spokespersons that are coming in to speak on behalf, and of course following the news a little closer, being able to be in the conversation. It's not just enough to be in the room, but you want to have some knowledge of what's being spoken to, so, and being able to speak to it. So yeah, I would say that I am a little more engaged, not overly, but yeah, to answer your question.
And I say that, and that's a good thing. And I wonder, are we, when I asked Secretary Todman about the importance of voting, voting is just one step, but to be an informed voter is that second step.
Absolutely.
And so I was thinking about that, and so first of all, I think it's great. You have great insight. And I think you being part of the conversation makes it more available to people. I won't speak for Michelle. I know I can. Sometimes I can go into these whole technical things about here's why you do that and that. And people's eyes are glazing over. And there's one woman sit there aging.
Yeah, she's like, we're getting old.
We're getting old. So, but I think being able to have this level of conversation becomes real important. Because as I was driving in this morning, I was saying that I'm going to put together a phone tree of folks that I know are younger that I'm going to text to remind them of the importance of voting. I'm not going to tell them who to vote for.
People do not like group text.
I know. I don't. I'll send them to them individually.
Please do, because if you want to alienate someone, put them in that string of a bunch of folks, and it's dang, and who is this? And, it just gets to be.
And
annoying.
then when people are responding, everybody gets it, right?
And I don't like it.
But to have that conversation about the importance of voting, and understanding that, and I wanted to throw this question out, and I'd love to hear what you all think. As I was driving in, I don't know if this is hype. I don't know if the percentage of this voting population is inflated or it's accurate in terms of the number of Black folks who said that at this point they're supporting Donald Trump. And I know that George and I, we have very vigorous discussions going back and forth. But if you're supporting someone in this election, I'd love to know why, if you want to share that, in terms of what was it about that candidate that you chose that candidate over the other candidate or candidates, because I thought about it driving in. Oh man, we can vote for a Kennedy this election. And just so people kind of know what's happening.
He shouldn't even be on the ballot
because
he
has to stay on.
Yeah.
I think they said the only way he can get off is he has to die.
Yep. It's a heck of an alternative.
Right. To get off, because I think they know that people that would vote for him, chances are would vote for Trump. And so they feel like that's going to
pull away.
It's kind of like Jill Stein, the impact that she could have. We're not looking at the situation.
But it could be a reverse effect as well, because, a traditional Kennedy would not be a Trump vote. When you
Right. But
speak to
this
the
particular
tradition.
Kennedy,
Yeah.
this particular Kennedy, to the fact that your whole family comes out against you.
Right.
I'm talking about the whole family.
And that's what I'm saying. So voting for him would be one way of thumbing your nose at him, but to the same extent, we need the votes on the other side if you're really trying to make some impact.
So let me ask you, do you think that there's a difference in saying that I'm going to vote for a particular candidate as opposed to I'm voting against a particular candidate?
Absolutely. I believe that there's a difference. And the main reason is because I may not agree with all the policy of whom I'm voting for, but I don't agree with any of the policy that I'm voting against. So I'm voting. It's not the person as much as it is the policies and what really meets the needs of my everyday life, and my constituents and the needs of what I see this community needing. When you start talking about doing away with Obamacare, well, we need that, as a people, not just the elderly, not just the young. We need that. So, I mean, there's several things. DEI has been impacted. There's so many things that I think we as a people have targets on our back. So I'm voting against Trump. I'm voting against Project 2025. So much of what I've heard that's in it, I haven't read it personally, no, but a lot of what I've heard that's in it, I don't think it's a good thing for us as a people. So I'm voting against.
Okay. No, I just and then trying to, as much as we can, and we probably never will, try to understand why a Trump supporter would be a Trump supporter. What is it about either his persona or what is it about his policies that's attractive? And I would say the same thing for people who are going to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. What is attractive in terms of policies, which is real interesting because we really just here recently just got some of her policies. So I'm just curious, are you voting for or are you voting against? Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Keith. Good morning,
Good morning.
Vigo and Parris. This election cycle, I've been interested in politics for a minute now. But in talking to some of my colleagues and associates and community people around that have not been that involved, are involved now. They're listening and they're talking to other people, and they're looking at Black people that are saying vote for Trump, and they're confused. And some people, I said, look, don't let things complicate you. Look at the big picture. When people tell me I was better off 4 years ago, so I said, so what do you want to do? Go live under a rock? The ingredients, what makes a storm, that perfect storm? All kind of things happening to make this blow up, to cause this storm. What makes prices and things change from 4 years ago? Are we intelligent people or what are we? Things change. One person can't make everything go wrong. Gas prices, they fluctuate all the time. Your insurance, every year you were on the job, you were worried, is our insurance going to go up this year? What is it going to be? If produce, because of storms, it's going to make that produce more expensive. Those your corn, your tomatoes, and your oranges and so forth, and grapes. It affects that. And it's going to change the price of things. And it's the same thing with the economy. The stock market is doing great. They're not mentioning any of that now. One person can't cause all the problems. And that commercial that comes on saying that Kamala thinks you guys are really stupid. Be very careful of what you're listening to. I have my ballot now. I did call in and I asked, should I go on and get rid of this ballot? So what I'm going to do, I know for that referendum question is no. I'm going to get that checked off. My husband and I are going to go downtown to that post office individually and hand them the ballot. Because I asked her the question. Because I was thinking, well, if I'm going to the post office, I could take my neighbor that's in a wheelchair. No, I can't do that. Because when you hand it to the person that's working in that post office, she gonna wonder why aren't you giving me 2 or 3? Or what's up here? I don't even know if she would even accept it. But I'm gonna take care of my business, and we're gonna go individually in there. But I will say to people, if you have a husband sitting out there in the car, disabled, I think somebody will go after that car. I'm asking the question. If anybody in the community know the answer, call Keith. But I'm just saying, would they be able to go out there and get his ballot and just put it in for him, knowing that it was 2 people in the car, 2 people gave me a ballot. And the reason why I would vote for Kamala versus Trump, I like, number one, you're running for the president of the United States of America, which means you should be representing all of its citizens, not ostracizing a race of people, not being a dictator and going out after your people that didn't go along with you. Now, I'm going to tell you something. If you think he's kidding, the ones that ticked him off, if you think he's not coming for you, you better think again. He's talking about destroying our country as we know it. You have grandfathers, uncles, cousins that have fought a war for us to have the democracy and the freedom of choices that we have. Are you willing to give that up? And he's already told you Putin is a good friend of his. Hello. He likes what he's doing. He wants to be a dictator. And I could go on and on and on. But young people, listen to the wisdom of us older people. We're not as stupid as you think. We've been here a minute.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning to you, big brother. I was just listening to the lower caller, and she's definitely my senior, and I want to respect her in that manner. But when she was talking about things, how people are confused. Listen, we're not confused that inflation was 1.4% under the Donald Trump era. You check that out. Black unemployment was down because of that opportunity zone where it was targeted just for black folk. I don't care if the jobs wasn't, grade A jobs. Folks was working, okay, because big companies was getting that big incentive. They still can get that, but that's still in effect. But nobody's talking about it or nobody's pushing it, because if you push that, then you push a policy that dude did. Okay, now to something else. We always talking about that that we gave away our communities, our inner city stores and stuff all across the country. We sold out. Our uncles, our granddaddies, our daddies sold out, man. Well, some of those people sold those little stores for $70,000, $80,000 to send kids off to college, hoping that it would better them. They had a purpose of selling out. But what we're doing now is we're not selling out. This generation, and mainly because we're listening to the seniors. We're not selling it out like they did, to maybe thinking that they were going to better the generation behind them. We're actually giving it away. We're giving it away by we're voting against our interests. When you allow people to come into this country that's getting pregnant at the border, see, they are raping them at the border. That's fact. And when they get over here, they carrying a baby for 9 months. You got grandkids, great grandkids. The people that are coming into this country is going to supersede our children. And me and you, we just going to be sitting back looking, and them same kids going to say, okay, y'all let them people in here. We have a chance to push back on that. So I'm not voting against my interests. I'm voting for the convictions that I have about my morality and the future of this country when it comes down to my black folk. And white folk already know it. See?
Let me ask you this question. Are you familiar with Project 2025? Have you read it?
Brother, I'm familiar with Project 2025. I'm also familiar that one of the endorsers on that just bagged back and endorsed Kamala Harris.
That's 1 out of 80. I think the other.
It doesn't make a difference.
It does make a difference.
He was a key player.
So let me ask you a question. So you've read that. So are you supportive of Project 2025?
No, let me say something to you. In the manner that I am now, a lot of that stuff I have to agree with because of the convictions that I have.
Okay, give me an example of something in Project 2025 you agree with.
Well, just the school situation. We got to revamp a lot. We got to revamp this doggone school situation, man, because it has gotten far out of control. Our children are not being groomed to come out of school, and this is by design, because there's no way that they just removed all shop material, all drill presses that they scrapped the stuff that they put in the warehouse. This went on all across the country, in major inner cities, because by design they had something planned out for us. And guess what? In result of that, our children want to be rappers and everything. We got some that's out here trying to. I'm not going to throw us under the bus, because there's some young boys out here that can get down, and they really good at their craft. Matter of fact, they even better than Mexicans when it comes to building. The only difference is with the Mexican, he's consistent and he come with a crew, and he don't mind spending his money on tools. See, that's what we get wrong here, because we in this cop and sale mode. You know, we want money fast. You know, and
wait. So,
but he about right on that part.
So you saying that if I go to certain black businesses, they don't even buy the tools to do the business? Is that what you said?
Listen, brother. Some guys don't spend the necessary money for the right tools. Your job is easy as your tools is. Okay. If you're not ready to invest and pay you, and if you get it on credit, most of the stuff you buy it on time, and you just got to make that payment every month on that Bobcat, man. You got to pay it, man. And you know, it's sort of like, what do you think happened to Leaners? All right, Leaners, as long as the parents were running it, they wasn't in no rush to get rich. They was in a rush to live. Okay, the kids came in and figured out, man, why we using the vendor and we giving him 60 cents on the dollar, and we making 40 cents, and we doing things on consignment. So what they did is they started doing like the Arab do. They was saying, we cut the middleman right on out. But when you do that, it seems like you're gonna get all the profit, and you probably will. But then you resume all of the loss. Yeah. You resume all of the old food that ain't no good. Now you got to throw that stuff away. So it's an up and down to that. But I just want to say this and get out of here, man, because I appreciate you letting me talk.
Not to mention loss and
theft. I can't hear you.
I said not to mention loss, theft. There's a lot that kind of goes into doing businesses in certain communities, and that's just real talk. You know, if you look at where Walgreens decided to close initially those stores, chances are they were in poor, underserved communities already, black or white or Hispanic. And part of that is I was just listening. I didn't realize that this was a national phenomenon, because the level of retail theft is up all across the country. Now, I don't know what's driving that. I don't know.
I'm going to tell you what you know what? It's not something that's driving it. It's something that has drove it. Listen, George Floyd, the phenomenal George Floyd, God used him, I really believe it, as a mortar to free us up from the lockdown and shelter. Okay, God had to use somebody, and he couldn't just use anybody. He couldn't just do it anywhere, because if he did it in Milwaukee, nothing would happen. We still been locked down. If he did it in Chicago, nothing would happen. He did it in a biracial state, and when he did that, white folk went crazy. See, and when white folk went crazy, the whole round world, came back outside. And they started looting and doing things, and out of anger, some out of necessity. And guess what? That spirit is still lingering. Now, we was able to get freed up under that. Okay, we was able to get back to regular living and come outside again under that. And I want people to understand that was not a mistake. That boy was killed, and he didn't get killed anywhere. He got killed in the right spot, a biracial place. Where white folk went absolutely.
But I think there's another thing. Because of COVID, because of the lockdown, we were forced to watch it. normally our lives are so hectic, so busy. We just moving just another. But this one, we were forced to sit there and watch the 9 minutes, and I think it moved people. But the question I asked then was it a moment or a movement? And it seemed like it was more a moment. Appreciate you, man. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hang on, T. Let me turn this radio down and take you off. First of all, I ain't trying to start nothing, but I've never met Meech. He tell me he's 45. You've met Meech before. How old is Meech?
I don't know how old he is. I don't know. I couldn't answer that.
So somebody told me he's our age.
Okay. Well,
so,
I don't know.
So but you met him before, so you should be able to know.
Yeah, but I mean, I look at people. There are people my age who look phenomenally young. There are people who would be at that age who look older than me. So just can't look at a person to tell.
Reason I'm just saying that because he be saying that senior stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Chief, I send you stuff all the time. You be talking, and I just sent you something now. And sometimes it would be nice.
I did see the movie.
To get a response from you.
Sorry about that, man. I did see
No, you ain't sorry, Keith.
Well, I just said I was sorry, and then you go sit up and go like,
Keith,
man,
because sometimes when I hit you up, even Meech, me and Meech go back and forth, and we'll respond to each other. Sometimes we'll leave each other alone.
Can I help you with this, George? And I'm guilty of this, and that's why I'm apologizing and saying I'm sorry. At 11:05 every day, I shut it down. You know, we've been dealing with all these issues, and so it's not
11:05 a.m. or 11:05 p.m.
11:05 a.m. when it comes to stuff because I've dealt with it, you know, and so then I'm kind of, oh man, I just kind of want to get away from it. So that had nothing to do with disrespecting you, because there's others who will send me stuff, and I'm kind of either very terse in my response or don't respond. A lot of times it's just because I feel like I'm kind of off the clock for a moment. Now, I know the freedom struggle is 24/7, but no, I did see actually I went to the movies to see Civil War, and I came back and told people they should go see Civil War. So
Keith, if people want to get an eye-opening experience, tell them, Keith, they need to watch that movie.
Oh, that scene where he says, "And what kind of American are you?" Ooh,
y'all,
that's
movie
chilly, man. It's chilly.
And we actually had a discussion at our 75th anniversary dinner for our church.
Okay.
And people are really concerned if this man don't get in, this is what it's going to come down to, because he did say, did he say something about blood, or it's going to be a blood fest or something?
Yeah, and let me do this because, you know, I mean, I think a lot of the criticism leveled at Donald Trump is merited. He is correct. What was done was they kind of cut and paste. They took a comment. He was talking about it would be a bloodbath for the auto industry at that point if Joe Biden was reelected president. That's what he was saying. So in fairness to Donald Trump, that's what he was saying. And yes, they did take it and they ran with it. That's the nature of the political business. But yeah, I mean, that's full context of what he was saying.
Oh, I saw when he made the comment, and I didn't know that's what I thought he was talking about if he lost.
No.
Because he didn't do nothing to the auto industry. Didn't he promise to bring them jobs back to these and start making these cars over here and stuff? He didn't do that. He even went to a town that the auto place shut down, and he promised they was going to get their jobs back. He didn't do anything about that. So, you know, when certain people call on the station and they be lying about what he's doing, and how can you even agree? Because do you think that if you went to Ohio, if they saw me and you, that they could say if he was a American or Haitian?
No, obviously, man. I mean, there, and this is, and I know George, you get on me for trying to be the guy in the middle, right? But let me kind of tilt on this. I don't understand. The more and more we see of Donald Trump, the more apparent it is to me, anyway, that we have a 78-year-old man who's unhinged. And that, you know, when you sit up and you're listening to him talk, you kind of going like, dude, I heard him say live, because, you know, I watch these things. I heard him say live that Kamala Harris was probably born deranged. I heard him say it. I'm going like, did he just say that? Did anybody pick this up? I mean, you know, so I mean, I get frustrated with that. And I clearly don't understand, like you, what it is that's driving people. I don't want to be pejorative and say Well, it's racism, though there's a lot of racism there. There's fear. When Meech called in and started talking about how and primarily Mexicans are coming across the border to take your jobs, sounds a lot like that chant that they were doing in Charlottesville, Virginia. You will not replace us. So I'm trying to figure what is his appeal, because if you sit there and you listen to him, Saturday Night Live did a great skit where they show people leaving his rally, right? Because that's what's actually happening. You know, I think the schlick is the stuff.
Can I say this? I hear the music. Can I say this real quick for people that take up about the?
Or you can hold on after the break.
I can do. Okay, thank you.
All right, you're listening to Community Voice. Caller, I see you. Phone lines are, well, they're kind of not open now, but they will be. 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Quick break. We'll be right back.
Voice is your answer. WNOV 860 AM 106.5 FM.
I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna steal. Michelle stole it from Al. I'm gonna steal it from Michelle. They won't tell you. We will. I like that. Did you? There you. Yes, sir. They don't tell you, but we will. All right, George. Hey, real quick, because I'll forget. I did see there was something for Keon yesterday. This is his annual fish fry. So they had a fish fry celebration in front of his house. Anybody know back, just last year, Keon would do this massive block fish fry, not just DJs, not just a DJ, DJs. Have you DJ'd for him? Yeah. So that's what it was. I would have definitely been in fact. I saw a blurb on it. Okay. All right.
So what I really call for too is just to kind of respond back to some of those things that Meech was spilling out. Our schools are not funded properly because of the Republican Party, so they're not sending the proper money that needs to be to run the schools. Am I correct or not?
Yes.
Okay. So when it comes to shopping, all that kind of stuff, even if they don't have it in school, Keith, what I see with most people today, and even I've got bad with it, most of us have our phones in our hands 24/7 now. I do put it down sometimes, but I'm on Google, YouTube. You got Big Step here, and you got a lot of training programs here that these young people can go to become electricians, masonry, all kind of stuff. And it's more than just Big Step out here. I think your program used to advertise it a lot, that these young people, or anybody, me and you, can still go out there and get trained to get these jobs because they need these people for whatever reason. Now they can pick up the phones and learn how to steal Kias and all that kind of stuff. Why they can't do that? So a lot of times, Keith, this stuff is about choices that we want to do with our lives that we could benefit ourselves through. So, it's a lot of stuff that I could just go on and on and on and just say with this Republican Party. They trying to erase your history. They don't want you to learn about your history because they're, like you said, Keith, they're scared. They're scared of what they did to other people is going to happen to them if other people be in control of this. And when you have control of something, let's not lie, it's hard to give it up. And they don't want to give up their power. To keep you right when you say it's about power, they don't want to give up that power. And so, when I watched that movie, Keith, that was just, I already knew this, but that was really eye-opening to me that they would rather blow this country up than to give it over to somebody else that will probably treat them fairly. It won't go back and try and do the things that they did to them. Because when he talks about all these Hispanic people or whatever coming over into this country, how do you think the Native Americans felt?
Or feeling? You think that's gone away?
When you say that, have mercy, have grace, because they want to make it sound like all these people are coming over here are rapers. And most of the people, like you said, Keith, are just coming over here to make a living and improve their life. They ain't thinking about coming over here to commit crimes. And a lot
of them are driven out of their countries because of American foreign policy that caused this instability in the first place. Right.
And if you watch that movie, it'll point that out to you.
Yeah, I mean, so it is policy driven in terms of why people here. I get a chance to correct them on this. That whole idea of anchor babies, they put on so-called people coming from South America, Mexico, Central America, actually was Asians. These were rich Asians who would fly in, have the baby here. Now their baby is a U.S. citizen, right? And then you get chain migration. Right.
And so, and you're absolutely correct on that, Keith. And so I don't understand what's the hatred with these people. And just like us, and that's why I brought up the point with all these black townships, even when we prospered, they went and destroyed all these black townships. It sounds like, with that Hitler rhetoric that comes out of his mouth that's getting these people riled up. And me and you was over there, they ain't going to be able to tell if I'm a Haitian or you a Haitian. All they going to see is black faces. And so when it comes to this migration stuff, deporting all these people, how they gonna know who's a illegal citizen or who's a legal citizen? It sounds like to me it's almost like stop and frisk point two. It's just like, oh, you a criminal, I'm gonna pat you down and this, that, and the other. So we have to be very careful and we have to have compassion on people in this country because at the end of the day, Keith, that's what it's about. And if we don't learn that, and if we keep on letting them divide us, and that's what they're doing, they're trying to put each other against us, against each other, versus looking at the big picture of what's going on. And that's why I don't support the Republican Party. It's because of their policies. Now, like he said, and I don't know that you backed him up on that. One person turned away from that. I haven't heard that yet. So y'all may be correct on that. I haven't got up on that yet.
Yeah, but what about the other
policies,
what about the other 79?
That's what I'm saying, Keith, and that's why I can't support the Republican Party. Let's say that somebody, what's the guy's name? And I don't think his name was Lamont. I can't remember, the one black guy that used to call a radio station all the time. And it's like, okay, what are you going to do even if you get in? If you have some good ideas, they're not going to vote for it. So you basically wasting your time. They're not going to listen to you.
All right.
So if they had some good policies that I could back up, Keith, I would do it. But I haven't seen one good policy. I can't think of one. Can you think of one good policy? And as far as, and I sent you this clip too, and then I'm going to get off. When we talk about inflation, how they trying to blame it on Kamala Harris. I sent you a thing, and I talked about this before. The profits that these companies are making, the dude from Kroger even admitted they're price gouging people. And so what I don't understand is that 45 didn't want the guy that kept on raising the credit interest rates. He didn't want him doing that. But as soon as he brings it down, now they're booing at rallies. They bought it down. Now they're booing. So what do you want? All right. You had a border bill that could have got passed to help. What do you want? Thank you.
And I appreciate it, George. And, that's fascinating, even on the politics of the border bill, because Republicans kind of knew that they were vulnerable. Now, you would think, with Donald Trump, he's so strong on the border. And I just saw a poll this morning, and whoa, sometimes you want to ask some of your Latino brothers and sisters, but I understand that there are some people who don't think they like them other ones, and how they gave Trump almost a 3-point edge in terms of dealing with border and border security. And I saw the picture of Vice President Harris down in Arizona, and I was looking at that wall. And I'm thinking, like, how can anybody get over the wall? That particular wall, anyway. Now, I don't know if that's a wall that Trump had built. I don't know if that was a wall that was already there. Here's the other thing, and they won't tell you, but I will. We benefit agriculturally from those undocumented migrants who come across the border and then who work in those fields. That also drives the cost of living, the impact on prices. If you don't have people there picking lettuce, or a certain amount of lettuce is not picked, the price of lettuce goes up. We're looking at a possible longshoreman strike on the East Coast. That's going to have economic impact, because any little gap or delay in the supply chain means that you're going to get higher prices. And here's the other thing. We talk about climate policy, and people talk about climate policy and it don't really matter. And this whole global warming is a hoax. That storm that hit, that's Helena, that hit the Bend in Florida, is, like they said, a 1 in 1,000-year storm. And so it is the climate. It is the ocean warming. And that's why these storms are so much more violent, so much more powerful, because of the warming of the oceans. That's what we're talking about when we begin to talk about climate change. And it's always incremental to the point that you don't almost see it, but it's having enormous impact. And if we made the investment on the front side, because right now I'm hearing estimates almost $26 billion in damages, not even talk about the loss of life. And think about it, this is a hurricane that had as much damage as in Florida, right there on the coast, as it did in Asheville, North Carolina. And I just happened to, one of my former coworkers, her and her husband lives in Asheville, North Carolina. And when you look at the flooding and the destruction, we have to take it seriously. And I know, it don't really matter. The sun comes up. Yeah, but how that sun, well, anyway, that's a whole different discussion. I don't want to get anybody old. Caller, welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning. Number one, the real problem with the Republicans is nobody is really trying to breathe their seed like that. So that's not with the world. That's with their women that choose not to have their babies. A lot of them are blue-nosed charlatans. You know, a lot of them are against reparation. Mitch McConnell, Fatima Gomez, the one who said if you want reparations, get out the United States. The Ohio Republicans says that they should ask for reparations since they set black people free. And here's another thing: they're mad at the migrants because they have a unity that black people don't. It could be 10 welfare checks. They still go into food pantries and their disconnection notices. Also, when it comes to the conviction, where the conviction in schools when you got grown men and women sleeping with your teenager boys and your teenager girls, you already tainted their flesh.
Is
They
that
should do
new?
that with somebody.
Is that
No,
new?
that's been going on.
Okay, thank you.
But people always say conviction. Their conviction is twisted. And then with taking the shop out of MPS, it is a parent's job to ask, guide, and inspire and elevate them to be anything they want. And if MPS is not doing what they're supposed to do, sue them. Just like black people always say, I'm going to put the white man on you. Go put the white man on MPS. I don't hear nobody talking about that. But people have to understand MPS are here to educate. It is your job to help your son and daughter become whatever he or she choose to be. And it takes more than the Bible. And please stop putting God on this George Floyd, because that was not a sacrifice. Because if that's the man of almighty power and he can kick everybody out of heaven, but he can't get nobody off somebody's neck, that is not a person I want to follow. I'll put my faith and my love in my Father and let him come blazing. So let's stop using God for George Floyd as a sacrifice. That was not a sacrifice. That was from one man's ignorance who was raised to be a barbaric animal that was taught and breeded from birth that y'all choose to protect us today. Thank you very much and have a wonderful Monday.
Appreciate that. Thank you. That's an excellent point. And I'm in the business, but we tend to inject God into a whole lot of things. And there's a pitfall, there's a danger in injecting God into a whole lot of things. And I know that that's pretty much how we've been raised. But I think Al makes a great point. I mean, anyway, all right. 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Caller, welcome to the program.
Brother, I'm sorry, but if you let me say one more thing, I ain't gonna do this no more. I feel bad when I have to do this. It's like a cleanup. Listen, when you talk about the schools, when you talk about going to school and shop being removed, we didn't have a choice. We had to do shop. You understand me? It was an A-day, a B-day, whatever day of the week you was going to go to metal shop this day, and you have wood shop, or you messed around here at auto shop, or you did some other technical thing. It was actually mandated that you did that. And guess what? It generated things. It generated something inside of a kid that don't even know he can build a bird out, man. You understand? When I hear people talk, man, these people just bother me. They just wonder.
But Meech, the reason why we had such a prevalence of shop classes was because Milwaukee's was a manufacturing-based economy. So it made sense then for people to go in and be all to do, so what I'm saying is the economy and the world has changed. We need electricians, we need carpenters, we need plumbers.
You need somebody that know how to cook. They got rid of home economics.
Okay.
Man, somebody, let me tell you something. A young person called me over there to eat some greens, right?
So most people learn how to do cooking from home economics?
Well, it gave you the incentive that I want to bake. You know, oh, wow, I actually made these cookies. I want to do something. See, it's about the invention of your hands. I heard Debo talking about growing something the other day. And just being able to see that garden grow, he was excited. And he probably going to grow another garden. Probably going to get big at the garden. Because he actually seen what the tilling of the ground with his own hands can do. See, that's inspiring. And when you kill the inspiration, there's no growth, man. You wonder about something else. You can fight this. And anybody that want to fight this has got a problem. You know, and when you talk about certain things, when it comes down to sexual activity in these schools, let me say this, man. You always hear about Boy Scouts. You always hear about boys being molested or men being drag queens, but you never hear nothing about the Girl Scouts. You know why you never hear nothing about that? Because the women
maybe it's not happening. Maybe it's not happening in the Girl Scouts like it's happening in the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts go back to, some people even question, was it even founded just for the purpose of being able to have access to children by pedophiles? So the Boy Scout has I watched this documentary on the Boy Scouts. It was tough enough with the Catholic Church, but the Boy Scouts was a totally different, and I hate to use this term, animal. What the level of abuse that was going on for years in the Boy Scouts, for years. So no, I mean, I'm
what about the Girl Scouts?
But maybe it wasn't happening in the Girl Scouts. Did you ever think that?
No. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you why it's not mentioned. I got the answer for you.
Maybe because it didn't happen?
No, well, you can hypothesize that.
And wait a minute, I'm saying that, I'm not to say that there probably wasn't some abuse going on in the Girl Scouts, but at the same time, when you look at the Boy Scouts and what was happening, and the Boy Scouts are still trying to get up from under, they've had to declare bankruptcy because of all of the suits that's been thrown their way. So
yes, they have.
I don't. Maybe that's why you're not hearing it, because maybe it just doesn't happen to the same level in the Girl Scouts.
I want to give you another analysis, right? Anybody trying to get that. If you see, why do you think nobody's saying anything about these men that are entering into these sports? Into women's sports.
Let's do this, because I'm no, because we ain't gonna do it. We're talking less than 0.5% of these people who are transgender who are going to be competing in sports. The Republicans have made it sound like, oh, you got all these men trying to compete as women. That is not true. I don't.
Fine.
But I think it's important, because what people are playing on is people's homophobia and transphobia. They're playing on people's fear. It's not based in science. It's not even based in fact. It's just something that happens, and when people hear, oh yeah, I got a problem with that, it's like, no, man, it ain't a problem.
You cut me off before I could draw my point.
What's your point?
My point is, the reason why there's no pushback from women in that, because there's no pushback. It looks like women would be all out in the street, right? Fighting that. The reason why, because if they fight that, then they have to fight that particular part. See, listen, man, they'd have to fight homosexuality. So therefore,
you don't have to fight homosexuality, first of all.
Why aren't they out in the street?
Well, just because maybe it didn't happen, Meech. Did you ever think that maybe it did not happen?
What did not happen?
That you have this wide-scale molestation of girls in the Girl Scouts.
Well, can I say this to you, brother? Most girls that are turned on, and this stuff ain't just happening since now when it got exposed. This stuff has been going on before you and I was ever born. Let me say something to you. The reason why we don't get that, we got to cover up, is because the women's liberation movement fuels the homosexual deal. The homosexual gay man really is nothing without the women's live.
Hey, Meech, I hate to burst your bubble and pop your balloon. We're going to have gay people forever. I know this is disappointing to you, but all the protesting, all the praying, all the preaching, all the marching, we're still going to have homosexuality. So why are we going after people that are different?
When you force it, you
ain't forcing nobody, not forcing anybody to be gay.
Let me give you this analysis, man. If I got a kid and they diagnose this kid as ADHD, and he's a little 5-year-old kid, and they start giving him Ritalin, right? His brain is developing, right, under that medication.
Which is different than his sexuality developing, Meech.
I'm finna show you what happens when you take a kid and you start to, and his brain.
Oh man, let me ask you a question. They don't know how. Were there gay people when you were young?
Were there gay people?
Yeah.
What do you mean gatekeepers?
Gay people. Were they gay people when you were young?
Well, they go back to the Bible. Men
Oh,
should not
really?
lay with men.
Really?
Mankind should not lay with mankind.
And we put laws on the books, and we prayed for them. And guess what? People are still gay because maybe it's
Brother,
science and not some sense of moral.
Listen, Al called in to attack me. He called in to attack.
He didn't. He never attacked you on your sexuality.
Well, because
so why we? I guess and it kind of got back. Someone had gotten on me indirectly because when we were having a conversation about Diddy's orgies, I was like, people got the right to go to an orgy. If you want to go to an orgy, go to an orgy. If you don't want to go to an orgy, don't go to an orgy. Now the issue with P. Diddy was not just that he was throwing freak parties; it was how those parties are being thrown. There's a criminality attached to it. But we're very good, we as people. We like the idea of...
What's the criminality that's attached to it?
Well, first of all, bringing prostitutions across state lines. That's the Mann Act.
That's it, the Mann Act. That's right.
Okay,
right.
So there's all kind of... They got them for wire fraud. There's a lot going on. So, but that's a different piece than people saying that how they want to exercise their sexuality. And I don't know why we have a problem with everybody else trying to exercise their sexuality, but you don't tell me how to exercise mine. I don't get that.
One more thing, too, brother. You talked about the global warming piece,
right?
And you see what just happened in Florida, right? Here comes election time, and we got this major hurricane.
Ooh.
Johnson said this, man.
Conspiracy?
He said, whoever controls the weather will control the world. Do you understand that? He flipped up and said that in 1960 or 1969.
We can't control the weather, but we can impact the weather. No, you can't. We can control it. We cannot control it. We can impact it.
The Johnson that Malcolm X talked so bad about, he said it. Pull it up. Who controls?
He made the quote, but what I'm telling you is that ain't scientifically how it works, Meech.
Brother,
all right, man. Let me appreciate you. I'm gonna appreciate you.
Believe this, brother.
I'm gonna get the next caller, man. Appreciate you, bro. I am gonna appreciate him. Caller, welcome to the program.
Yes, you were talking about climate and everything else like that. I can just say where I live, they had a fire and the winds came in about 110 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, went from there, 1,000 homes got burnt down, and then from the destruction, then it took them. They had to deal with the insurance companies. And then it took them forever to, I think, 2 years to even find the workers. And then they had to go through the rebuilding process. And then their insurance company only covered like 1 year. So they had to, by state law, they had to extend it 2 years. And some of the people still haven't had their homes built because they can't find the workers, they can't find the supplies, and everything else like that. Then my friend, they're raising her... What did she tell me? Now, she wasn't even close to the fire, but last year they raised her homeowner's insurance by $3,000. This year, $5,000, $8,000 in 2 years. And they said that because of all these fires they've had throughout the country and these flooding and all these other issues, now, Kamala's talking about $25,000, but you can't do anything about your homeowner's insurance. I mean, I see that's going to be the next biggest thing is the homeowners insurance going up. And you're right, there is in my hour burning down those homes. Yeah.
And if you look at Asheville, North Carolina, it looked like it took a direct hit in terms of the damage that was done. You know how far Ashland, North Carolina inland is? From the
about 2 hours from Charlotte.
Yeah, but I'm saying, you know how far it is from Tallahassee? So the fact that it got hit the way it got hit, it says a lot. And I understand, my understanding is that insurance companies are pulling out the state of Florida. And California is dealing with it too because of the fires and the type of fires. And I've never been in a hurricane, but we had a windstorm here. I'd never seen what they call it a straight line wind. And I watched this huge tree in front of my house bend. I mean, that's how strong that wind was. 125 mile an hour wind. I can just only imagine, man. Appreciate you. You're listening to Community Voice. Callers, I see you. 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
I'm proud.
All right, welcome back to Community Voice. Should I respond to? No, I won't. I'll just get the next call. Caller, welcome to the program.
What's going on, Keith?
What's happening, man?
Man, let me tell you, a couple calls away, man. You was almost with the S word, man. You was really pushing it, Jack.
Who, me?
Yeah, you were trying to.
Yeah, you.
Some word you were trying to say was shite or something.
I think it was like slick. You know that thing you do. No.
Yeah, man, you almost said it twice.
It wasn't a Kamala moment when she went this month. No, it wasn't that.
Yeah, it was.
You're pretty close.
Yeah, it was.
Pretty close.
Yeah, it was because Debo knew exactly what I was talking about because he wanted to tell you, but he was gonna he told you off the air, but you was close, Jack.
And you know what? I found myself in the car, and I'm gonna use it. I put it in quotations, defending niggas because people were saying that Donald Trump, and I'm going like, you offending niggas, comparing them to Donald Trump. I'm offended for them.
That's 5 for the month.
Hey,
that's it. Well, today's last day.
That's it. And my second thing, me should be able to call one time a day, no one time a show, one time a day. That's it. Don't get on everybody's show and talking that mess. We just want to hear you one time and that's it. You ain't got to call everybody's show to hear your mess. Just one time, man. Just all you got. We don't got to hear you everybody's show about that mess you talking. You running off with the rhetoric like Trump do. They did this. They did this. Well, you know the gays and then the gays, man. Dude, we don't hear all about that no more, dude. Dude, we are over it. And rest in peace, the Kingdom of Tumbo.
Yeah, I just saw that. Yeah, that's great. And let me do this. You guys may or may not, depending on if you're music, movie fans, but Chris Christopherson died. He was 88. Man, I love Chris Christopherson.
Matumbo was young too, man. He was like 50.
Because he played with Alonzo Mourning, right? Weren't they together at Georgetown?
Georgetown. Then he went to Denver.
Mutombo, yeah, the finger.
Mutombo.
Yeah.
Don't bring that in here.
Yeah, don't bring no.
Oh man, no one no bringing it into Mutombo, and he lets you know.
He'll let you know. He'll bring that Arsenio Hall finger out on you.
There you go. And that's a great segue because today is Bucks Media Day. And they start training camp tomorrow, so today is Media Day. I'm not going to talk about it because it's too early to be talking about the NBA.
It is way. I'm sorry to say, it's way too damn early to be talking about some basketball, man.
If y'all sleeping on the WNBA, don't. Check those games out, man. Those sisters are balling. They balling,
I understand. Man. I understand you want to skip the football subject.
No, I'm gonna get back to that, but I'm gonna get back to that.
I know why you want to skip the subject. I know you do. I know you want.
We don't want to skip it.
No, we ain't gonna skip it.
We had some issues. The kicker. Was one of them. Of course, we know our quarterback. I mean, and still to only lose by 2, we did damn good.
No, y'all didn't do damn good, Debo.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
we do for 398 yards, 300 something like that.
Let me tell you. Do you want the old quarterback, the backup, or you want Love? Which one do you want?
Well, there was a part of me said, at what point do you sit Love?
Now, wasn't no question. I was like, get him out of there. He's stinking up the place. He's stinking up the place.
Like, I know he's coming back, but.
But I mean, you know, that for me, that was a loss that I accepted because I feel like
First
if and the kicker, come on, man, the man gave up 6 points. We only lost by 2. If he does his job, everything else doesn't even matter. We win the game.
Oh, but what could go wrong? How about when the dude just punched the ball out of Kraft? That was just like, dude, come on, man. There was a lot going on in that game. And let me drop one more name for you. Eric Stokes, 21. He can't cover me.
Listen. And we lost some players yesterday too. You know, as far as
listen,
Christian Watson they played the last 2 years.
Listen,
he's number one receiver.
Again, y'all won with that last quarterback.
Who, Willis?
Yes.
Well, that's not to say we would have won yesterday
with him.
You got to give the Vikings credit, man. The Vikings.
Debo, you still backing them up, boy. I tell you.
But the Vikings, man, they look pretty good.
Oh, they
I
ain't
believe
nothing
the
to play
Packers
with.
can beat the Vikings.
Yeah, and they would have beat him if
yeah,
I believe the
Kicker
Packers
does
can
his
beat the
job.
Packers. Yeah, I think they can.
Yeah, Keith.
Man, listen,
Yeah, Keith, you
Mason
didn't have too
Crosby.
much coffee in your cup.
Mason Crosby played yesterday. We won that game.
Who's he kicking for?
Well,
He just got picked up by somebody. This
Mason
dude.
Crosby, he garbage too.
Hey, wait a minute. And then how about Dallas? The best player on their team is the kicker.
The kicker, man.
He's the best player. And no disrespect to Michael Parsons, but let's say one of the best players.
That's the only person I like on their team. Everybody else can go to hell.
Who, that Michael Parsons?
Yeah, Michael Parsons is the best person
That
on their
dude,
team.
man, this dude might actually kick a 70-yard field goal. I can see that. I can see this dude got a leg.
That dude is a monster. He was a monster in Penn State, and he's a monster now. So he ain't gonna be in Dallas too long because otherwise they're gonna have to pay him a lot.
And of course they had the great Richie Cunningham.
This guy.
About old Richie Cunningham kicking for the Cowboys. But you know what's real interesting, and this is just an observation, right? I don't know if it was one of the college games I was watching this weekend.
Oh, you talking about when Georgia?
No, I'm talking about the little fat kicker. This guy, this dude, they said he used to play soccer. Have you ever seen a soccer player? Soccer players have no body fat, right? They're running constant. Where was he playing soccer? This dude, he was short, squat, chubby. I'm going like, this dude could have been playing.
Did you see that Georgia game when they scored that touchdown and they scored 13 seconds after that?
Yeah.
Oh man, the crowd was going crazy.
Maybe Alabama is that good. Maybe because they came up and beat the Badgers, but what does that take?
Well, the Badgers ain't nobody.
Right. Well, I know, man. That's tough, man, because I am part of the Grateful Red, but this is really tough to watch. It really, ooh, man. And then you sit up and, because I watch college football, and then Graham Mertz is playing for Florida. Oh, God. That dude couldn't throw. I saw him play in person. That dude's an awful quarterback.
It's a lot of them out there. Spelling in their fair.
Okay, but can we get back to the Have you been watching the WNBA? You gotta.
No. I ain't. You know what? I once Reese got hurt, I left it. alone.
Let me. The Asia Wilson. That sister can play. Man,
well, I mean, it's a bunch of them. Especially old girl from Milwaukee. She can get down.
Is her brother? Her brother is playing football for the Panthers.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a Gulawali, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's her brother. Somebody said her brother was playing pro football. Yeah, he scored a touchdown yesterday. Yeah, he scored a touchdown yesterday. Oh,
even though their team is garbage.
She's incredible, man. That young woman can play. I mean, she's on an awful team. I mean, the Wings were awful this year, but no, she can play.
Yeah, but if you step to her, she gonna roast you.
Oh man, and was in college. What did she do? 2 back-to-back game winners in the semifinals and the finals.
Yeah, she did. In the corner.
In the corner.
In the corner.
But I'm gonna tell you something. Breanna Stewart.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. I mean, her game is just so smooth, man. Oh, so y'all, if you're sleeping on it, don't watch the WNBA.
So you think old girl was ready to get fired or what?
Who that? Teresa Witherspoon?
Chicago.
I don't know what the deal was there. I mean, Chicago was developing. I mean, they were a young team, so I don't know why they ended up letting her go.
They didn't take no time, did they?
No. You think Mike McCarthy's gonna get fired down in Dallas?
He need to. Jerry Jones need to die and get it over with. So they can get that.
No. I don't want Jerry Jones to die. I want us to get that shot in the owner's box when they get spanked like last year when the Packers spanked them, and you looking at him up there. Hey, let's get the camera back on Jerry. Jerry was not very happy.
Jerry got to be one of the probably most racist owners of all time, and people know it, and they still want to play for dude.
Well, they playing for Dallas, man, and I bet he regret giving Zach Prescott all that
again, and Ezekiel again.
You think Ezekiel's coming back?
Ezekiel, man, he played for Dallas. He's on my roster.
Yeah, man, but look, a shelf life of a running back is what, 26, 27?
Yeah, guess what? He had 1 year, and that's it. He garbage.
Hey, man, that's how you make your money. And don't be a white quarterback in the NFL and have a career game. Oh, you looking at a great contract next year. Was that Matt Flynn?
How did Jones do yesterday against the Packers?
Who?
Jones, our former running back.
About 90 yards.
Yeah, but did he score?
Yeah,
he got 90. 90 is a lot.
Yeah,
did he score? You remember on that last drive, he was trying to get in the end zone, and we turned him around. Fourth down.
There you go, Debo.
Turn the ball
Debo, him and the Packers, boy. You're gonna back him up, boy. I tell you.
Yeah, we're gonna back him up, man. Ain't nobody walking away. And what team are you a fan of, by the way?
We 3-0, Seattle. Like I said, we played tonight.
Hear about Devontae Adams.
He got hurt. He didn't play.
Wanting out of.
Yeah, Vegas.
Yeah, well, look who's quarterback.
Yeah,
who's his quarterback?
Marshall. They're awful, man.
But didn't he go there following somebody who got let go?
Carr.
Yeah, Carr.
They played together.
That was his guy. That was his guy.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. I think Seattle's in Detroit tonight, right?
Make sure you watch it. Have your glasses on.
I'll definitely watch your glasses on. And here's a game where I'll be booing both teams because I hate both teams equally.
Yeah, I can understand Detroit.
And guess what? And I'm gonna call in. I ain't gonna duck you like me.
Seattle. Oh yeah. We hate Seattle.
Is that the 4th and 26?
4th and 26 was Philly.
Okay.
Seattle was the Fail Mary.
Oh yeah, Fail Mary.
And Seattle was the 4-minute collapse.
Yep. And we got a ring.
Yeah, but you lost that year.
we did.
Yeah,
we did.
Malcolm. What's his game? Malcolm McDowell.
Listen. Y'all haven't. Listen. Y'all haven't had a Super Bowl in how long?
About as long as Seattle.
No, my guy.
Well, Aaron got us our last Super Bowl.
Right.
How long? Yeah, right.
And
then we got one with Brett.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, with Brett.
Okay, but I'm just saying that was his
successor.
Let
him get that money back.
So our last two quarterbacks took us there. What are you saying?
I said Russell. We were the last team that won a Super Bowl. But we was the last team between Green Bay. Between Green Bay,
because the last one I remember that Seattle was in, they lost to New England. Remember?
We won.
No,
we won.
No, they lost to New England.
I'm saying we are the last team between Packers and Seattle who has won a ring.
Okay, and how long was it prior to that you won the ring?
It was long enough. Okay, Debo.
Hey man, don't be getting all sensitive. He called your name. He called your whole government name.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Debo. It's just a Monday morning sports com. We don't need to be going to our cars. We don't need to move no furniture.
Debo didn't pull out my Social Security card.
Yeah, man. You pulled out his birth certificate.
That part, man.
That was pretty personal, man.
Yeah, he had a little bass. He put a little bass in his voice too.
Debo. I was like,
Debo. Okay. Hey. What Debo saying? You say on Saturday? Goodbye.
All right, man, appreciate you, man. Caller, welcome to the program.
Yes, good evening. I wanted to ask you
a
quick question.
It's evening somewhere.
Evening
in China.
Al said, I've been holding so long, it's evening now, right, Al?
You aged now.
Well, patience is a virtue. First thing I want to say is that 45 is a hard 55. Moving forward, wasn't Jesus a virgin until he was 33?
We don't know.
Because I was thinking about that, because I know in that good book they said the people got upset because he kissed Mary Magdalene in the mouth.
Okay.
And I also know they said he used to run with tax collectors and prostitutes but never touched one, but he was always sitting at the table with a bunch of hard legs. Isn't that kind of weird to you? Because what grown man want to sit with a bunch of hard women, bunch of hard legs?
Now, what are you saying?
And what I'm saying is to those people who like to bring up like sexuality, sometimes those people be the first ones in the closet and then they talk all this Jesus stuff. But I ain't never known a man who was a virgin at 33 and hung with a prostitute and never want to touch and lick one. Have a great day.
Al put something on your mind, don't he? He just put it out there.
Now I got to do some biblical research. Carl, welcome to the program.
You got to do some biblical research.
Do some biblical research. Something I might have missed in the story. Carla, welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning, Keith, Brother Debo.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, brother George called in about my first question is you were talking about a movie.
Civil War.
Civil War?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that on Netflix or something like that?
Yeah, and I think it's also, I think it'd be Showtime.
Okay.
But yeah, you can get it Netflix. I actually went to the theater to see it because it was such a thought-provoking movie.
Was it in the film fest?
I went actually regular theater.
Oh, okay.
As a matter of fact, that's where I got my free. I still have my rain check because I went to see it at the Marcus out at Brookfield. And I was having a problem with them. Yeah, so I did see Civil War.
Okay.
I think it's worth seeing.
Okay, and my comment is, what is it with this obsession when it comes to Black people? And I know you say it's a small number, but you got some callers calling in. It's the guy from, several people I want, you know who they are. But with this man's history, what I'm trying to do, I don't know if anybody can help me understand with this history, beginning to renting his apartment, to just all the vile comments that he said, even that he's saying even now. Most of the countries that he's talking about are where people of color come from or reside, and where do Black people think they fall in that spectrum? Do you think that you're better, that he's excluding you because he hasn't mentioned you so far, which he has when he with NFL players, those SOBs, and S-hole countries, and what he did concerning Puerto Rico when was a Hurricane Maria, when he held up aid to that country that got devastated by that hurricane. Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to figure out what is it when it comes to Black men, and I know there's some Black women out there that feels that he cares about you because as far as I'm concerned, I don't care where you are in life, whatever your successes are, you're still Black, and I'm always be a Black man regardless of whatever you achieve in life. But what do you think it is with this obsession or this support that he has over some Black people, considering his history of racism and his vile comments about Black people and people of color? So I just trying to understand that.
That's a good question. And
thank you. I'll hang up and listen.
I appreciate you, man. And we obviously, there are no people that's a monolith, right? You're always going to have exceptions to where maybe the overwhelming majority of people are moving. I'm not going out on a limb on this, and I'm not, speculating on this. Donald Trump is a racist. Ain't no getting around it. I mean, his body of work is just emblematic of his racism. And we look at it in terms of whether it was his family's resistance to renting to Black folks in New York. When you look at the Muslim ban, who are they talking about? You're talking about people of color primarily. And so, and then he paid, and I think this is another reason. I'm sitting here deceiving myself if I believe that there's no racism in America, and that there's probably more racism in terms of privately held racist thoughts and feelings than we could ever imagine, because a lot of us don't travel in those spaces where that's exposed. So I think racism for a lot of folks drive it. Of course, you can make the argument that the economy was better under Trump prior to COVID. COVID was a world changer. So my question would be, let's say now if Trump was president.
That would be false. That would be false in the sense that he assumed that economy from Barack Obama.
And the first thing
his
he did,
policies were never really even implemented.
He did the tax cut for the rich.
Yeah.
And then hurt people in California, New York, Illinois, who could no longer write off their property taxes, as an expense on their federal income tax. That was the deal he gave. Oh yeah, we increased the deduction, but what if your deductions are higher than the, what they give you, the standard deductions? So there was the guy's racist. and he's playing to a significant portion of the American population that is racist.
That's his base.
Right. And look, America was based on racism. Our country was built on racism, right?
And classism.
And classism. Well, classism came, but who was the first people to lose land? People of color. Who was the people they brought in to work the land? People of color, right? And then you would have thought that once we figured out that the immorality and injustice of enslavement, that we kind of had this come to ourselves moment. White supremacy, which drives the racism, right? And so I hear people, no, white supremacy is just that. That means that white people are in a supreme position of power. It was something George was saying. So once you have power, you don't want to give up power. You know, that was part of the calculation that went into Joe Biden's decision, no doubt. I mean, you get used to it. I mean, and it wasn't like it is the worst thing in the world or Joe Biden was the worst person in the world when it came to being president. He wasn't. Far from it. He's going to be one of the more consequential presidents because he was the person who got us basically through COVID. Because in 2020, we could have lost a whole lot more people had this dude still been in charge in 2021. So this dude being Donald Trump. So no, I know it's not thinking. It's racism. There can't be, because when you sit up and go a person who's solely, particularly unsuited to be president just based on every measure, and we're still looking at a razor thin election. That tells you about the level of racism in America. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can I make a small comment?
Just a small one. No, go on, man. If it's big, I got to cut you off. Yeah. No, you good, man.
Okay.
Go on.
The homeless are being evicted from down on the Lee Street and living in the tents down there by the welfare office.
Okay.
I believe they got like 10 or 15 days to get out of there.
Okay.
And Joe Biden sent $48 million to Milwaukee for the homeless. And I'd like to know where is that money being, and how is it being spent, and what are they going to do about it?
Well, let me say that one of the issues that we deal with the unhoused is the fact that some folks don't want to be housed. And that's a tough part of that population. So no matter what people try to do to get them into a different form of housing, they're resistant to it for whatever reasons. I didn't know that they had a tent city down there. I know we've had several tent cities. We had tent cities under Donald Trump when it came to the homeless. Well,
yeah.
So I don't.
Yeah. Well. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think all of them. Some parts like.
I said some, not all. I'm saying that there's some out there that it would be very difficult for them even to be in a shelter, just based on where they are and where their mental state is and some other things. And so we look, America's dealing with a homeless problem, and I don't know if 48 million, and again, that's probably going to the county. And so now you got to split that out among municipalities, but obviously struggle. Let me do this real quick because I know I got to get up out of here. Someone mentioned Big Cat going to the Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns has been traded to the Knicks. I guess they're going to finalize it. Will be the difference. They gave up Julius Randle. And I was just looking at Julius Randle's numbers. His numbers weren't bad. But they made that little run. Oh, and then my boy, DiVincenzo, was also thrown in on the deal to go to the Timberwolves. So they were saying, because I think they just got Mikal Bridges, so they were going to almost have 4 Villanova players. They're only going to have 3 now. And what other thing? Let's see. Also, the biggest deficit. Thank you. That tax cut caused the biggest deficit. And then we also dealt with the spending that got us through COVID. Let me thank Secretary Adrianne Todman of Housing, Urban Development, Let me thank Debo. Harvey, thank you. Callers, we thank you. The good Lord will and creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.